So Grave of the Fireflies is a depressing movie. You know this.
We know
We
this.
know this. Yeah, we really know this. Um, and so don't expect anything happy. If you're chronically depressed, maybe skip this episode.
just
And
skip to the
let's.
last 10 minutes where we talk about what we're gonna watch next.
Yeah, that'll bring us back up. It is easily probably one of the most depressing things ever put to celluloid. I can't think of anything else.
Well,
Uh,
with that disclaimer, shall we hop into our little movie club meeting of Grave of the
yep, little
Fireflies?
episode 2 of Little Ghiblis. Welcome everybody.
Wow.
Welcome, welcome.
Right off the top, maybe picking Grave of the Fireflies for the second film wasn't the best idea.
Whose idea was this? I feel like we need to find them and put them on front.
Well, it was Studio Ghibli's idea. They put this as the second part of a double feature with
Wasn't it the first
My
part?
Neighbor Totoro. I don't know. Was
I
it?
think it was the first part. I think Grave of the Fireflies aired first, and then My Neighbor Totoro.
I'd hope so. I wouldn't want to do the opposite way
That's
around.
a different, very different vibe. Here, let's pull up the Wikipedia.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because I said that when we first watched Totoro, because I was like, oh, that frames the whole little sister going missing, losing the foot, the sandal in the river kind of thing as like, oh god, is this another one?
Yeah. There's a trend.
But,
Um,
oh boy. Hey, Ryan,
Good.
did you guys like this movie?
Okay. Yes. I feel like yes is my short answer, and then we can go. Everyone can answer.
Solomon?
Did I like this movie? Who in their right mind likes this movie? Like, I like things about it, but I mean, I definitely don't like enjoy watching it.
Oh God. No.
So there are things I appreciate about it, without a doubt, but I don't
Yeah,
like this
yeah,
movie.
okay. It's maybe not like, do you appreciate the movie? I didn't like it.
Didn't like
No,
it. All right.
I didn't like it.
Harley and Saul, what are your least favorite things about this film that set it over the bar for a like to a dislike?
It frustrated me.
Got it. All right, Saul.
This was a frustrating movie.
Okay, that interests me for a reason.
So
we're gonna dig into that.
Say what you want first, because I'm scared to speak my piece on this.
Okay. Well, okay, we've got frustrating, and then Saul, what is your take on the film?
I mean, because it's based on like a semi-autobiographical story, I can't be like, I think this is unrealistically depressing because it's literally realistically depressing.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't really think I have a single thing I dislike about it. I just like the overall experience of watching it.
Got it. So from I hate it to I enjoyed watching the experience.
I didn't say I hated it. I didn't say I just did not like it.
It's fine.
It frustrated me.
My longer answer for why I like it is that
yeah, I'm actually very pleased you do like it.
Well, it emotionally wrecked me, and for a film or any type of media to do that, it has to have strong footing, and I feel like this film has some very strong footing in its subject matter, in its depiction of war, and how it can widely affect people who want nothing to do with it. And I can't dislike a film that I feel is necessary to be made. It just feels like a film that should exist, and that if people don't understand why we should be scared of future conflict, it's something they should watch.
Oof, you're gonna make my argument sound real bad now. Oh no.
All right, well, let's hear your argument.
Gosh, okay, look, I get it. Okay, so you guys watched it, like, did you watch it twice? Like, what was everyone's
Is
watch
the
thing of this? Because this...
the first time I tried watching it, I got about 15 minutes in, and then I got really busy, and that was about 3 years ago when we first started this podcast. Which, by the way, everybody, if there isn't a disclaimer in the first episode, which I intend to include in the edit, this is 3 years post episode
Actually, I
one.
think it's only like 2.5.
I checked the record date. It was 2020.
Oh god. Oh
Yeah.
god.
Uh,
Oh, I'm getting old.
anyways, we're getting old, boys. That's why we gotta finish this before we die. Anyways, what
So
the
you
fuck were we
watched it
talking?
for
That was a
15
lot of
minutes?
thunder. I watched it for 15 minutes, and then I stopped because I got busy, and I'm happy I did because I wasn't at a point in my life where I probably would have properly absorbed this film. I would have just gotten bored. I would have gotten sad and not known why.
Yeah. I can see it. It's not the best movie, but watch it just... Oh, let's
Yeah,
browse
no.
the internet, just like flip it through Netflix. Oh, let's watch this.
Oh, just pop it on.
But then you watched it through and through.
I watched it through. I rented it. I sat down. I watched it in an afternoon. It was a rough afternoon, but I'm really happy I did. And I feel like
don't know
it's.
if happy's the right word. I saw the selfie you posted.
I am glad. I'm ultimately glad I did. I'm not happy. I'm not ecstatic about the film. I'm glad that I went through with watching it.
How many times have you watched this, Solomon?
I think, gosh, I may have watched it a long time, or at least part of it a long time ago, and then given up on it very quickly. I watched this the first time when we were originally going to, and then I was like, I'm glad I've watched this because that means I never have to watch it again.
Well,
Yeah.
well.
And then, so I watched it literally just before we sat down today.
Oh, so you have the most fresh.
Through again.
Dang. Okay. So when did you? How many hours ago did you finish it?
I finished it about 15 minutes before we were supposed to start recording.
So an hour and 15 minutes ago.
Cutting it close. Okay.
Well,
How is the vibe in your room right now? pretty downtrodden.
Vibe is I don't know. I had a really different experience watching it the second time, especially kind of the two closing like shots.
Oh yeah, of like Japan and like modern day.
Well, there's the scene where what's her name, where Setsuko gets
Sister?
cremated, and
Oh.
then it was very different watching it again. And then of course, yeah, that ending scene of modern day Tokyo. And I think that's, in my mind, what redeems the movie. There's a lot of things that...
The ending scene?
Yeah. That's the kind of, like... Because otherwise obviously it's sad, but it kind of, I think, runs the risk at some points of just going into, like, oh, things were bad in the past melodrama, and obviously that's a cynical reading of it. But yeah, that concluding, like, I'm not sure if it's an analogy or a statement or just what is being done in that last scene, but it does something for me.
That's fair enough. Oh yeah, I should clarify. So I watched like a bunch of clips of Grave of the Fireflies like a long time ago when I was a teenager. I just like, why are people saying this is the saddest thing ever? And I looked up a bunch of clips. And then I watched it through and through like you guys. Can't believe it, 3 years ago. And then I was gonna watch it again, but I was like, no, I did not like it. I'm not gonna watch it again. Instead, I'm gonna go, and I went and I watched a bunch of videos and talks about people who like the film to try and get a better understanding of it. And I don't know, I don't think I walked away with better opinions. I think people might be slightly overrating this movie. Oof. I feel like I'm painting a target on myself, but like, I don't know. I'm for sure there's a good stuff there. It's got strong messages, I'm sure, but everyone's just saying it's like the saddest movie ever, and that's like such a subjective thing. And I'm gonna be real, sad movies are not that hard to make.
Hey guys.
That was the funniest thing in the world. That just Harley says, I didn't like it," and then Sky immediately just leaves.
My power hated that so much that it went out.
Wait,
Okay, have I
so
got
you
funny
lost-
news for
you
you?
lost connection?
Yes, I did, and I lost my recording.
Oh no!
If everybody could please,
Oh.
on 3, just clap for
Yeah.
me, that would make my life so much fucking easier.
Okay.
Okay.
On 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, that is gonna help me so. Just use the Discord recording that Harley's got for my audio, I guess.
Well, you could save
It'll be
it.
shit, whatever.
You could save it. Hey, technical
Yeah,
difficulties.
I'm just.
Let's pop back in.
All right, let's
Yeah,
Yeah, what were you saying? What were you saying?
Dip out, because I was essentially just saying that I think this movie is slightly overrated.
Got it.
Partly because everyone's just going on and on about how it's like the saddest movie ever, but
I guess.
that's
Yeah.
a very subjective thing, and sad movies are not the hardest movies to make in the world.
Totally.
And I mean, like, if we want to talk about like sad movies about children in war, there's no comparison between this and like Come and See.
Yeah, that's kind of what my whole takeaway was from this movie, was kind of just, there's things that have done it better.
Yes.
And
I don't know about better though, 'cause that's
real quick before we get too deep on that that road.
Please swerve, I'm dying here.
This is a film about war. Is there a better? I don't really know if this is applicable to this genre, because it's like it's a pretty fucked up place to operate
Alright,
in film.
Give me
So
one
it's
second. You keep talking. I'm like sweating here, so I'm gonna take my sweater off.
you're all you're all good. I'm scared a tornado's gonna rip through here any second. But we press on for the Ghiblis. Anyways, I personally feel like I could be a little bit biased, because I am a guy who, speak of the devil, has a little sister. So, and this film deals with the subject of a little sister just kind of wasting away and the brother not being able to do anything about it, and it hit home a little too close. And it's like, I can see that not resonating with other people, but it definitely...
Why, you asshole, we both have little sisters.
That's why I'm talking in general terms, like
Oh my
other
God.
people who don't like the movie. I'm giving an example of why I felt pretty
Well, that didn't hit for me.
attached to what was happening.
I
Well,
didn't.
I guess Raven can go fuck herself then.
Well, okay, that's the thing. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like them. They made like.
Which part?
I don't like how they kept doing dumb things, because they're like so proud. Not the little sister. Little sister doesn't do anything. She's just like along for the ride. She's too young to like have like agency over stuff. That's fine.
Yeah, it would be odd if she did.
But like the older brother, like friggin', he's just so prideful that he keeps doing dumb stuff. It just angered me. And
Here, let me pull
wasn't
up the
sad.
wiki. How old is that kid?
It's like 9.
He's 9,
9.
and we're getting onto him for choices he's
Yeah,
making.
because they're like kind of big choices to be like.
The fact that
huh,
he stayed alive
should
that
I
long
buy
impresses me, and he's
food?
fucking 9.
No, we'll just starve. It's fine.
Well, I mean, I actually don't have a problem with that. And I actually think that works to the film's credit, because there's this emphasis on him being the son of, what is he? Is he a captain, Navy captain, or
Some
Navy
captaincy.
admiral?
Yeah, but it gives him these really big shoes to fill inherently, and it's like, I did not know he was 9. I honestly was under the impression he was like
Well, don't
12 or
take-
13.
Don't take that as fact of law. I think he's 9.
I'm gonna look at the
I don't know.
thing.
Or
Yeah,
I
and I
think
think that
the author was 9 when, like, he
So
went through all this stuff. Which, God,
elaborate
I
on
sound
that a
like
little
such
bit.
a
I
villain.
didn't know that this was a based off of a biographical work. I thought it was just kind of a comprised thing to
Like you
showcase
found
what
out just
happened.
now. Oh,
Yes,
actually, maybe
I
other people, if somebody's watching this, doesn't know. But yeah, Grave of the Fireflies is based off of a novel.
am. So it's a true novel.
And the novel, okay, I'm gonna just grab the Wikipedia
short
here.
story actually, but
Yeah, it's based off a novel of. Oh God, I can't say his name. Solomon, you want to take a crack at it?
yeah, Akiyuki Nosaka.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
It's based off of his post-war experiences,
Hmm.
and yeah, like because his younger sister died of malnutrition, and he had survivor's guilt, and he wrote that story as like a piece to coming terms with that. And then Studio Ghibli came by and they were like, "This will go great with Totoro."
Pretty much a nice side piece. So that opening then is his metaphor for when she died, he died, but his soul died. He didn't like literally pass away in that train station.
So I did look at a bunch of talks of people talking about it. Not accurately, he did not give super big insight into what the meaning behind that was. That might just be derived from like the character or so. But it's something like that because it is like very like based off of him and his experiences, or at least I'm assuming because I was not able to find a solid translation of the novel in time to actually, because I was like, my plan was originally like, instead of rewatching, I'm just gonna read the novel, but I couldn't find any solid translations or anything that wasn't money, so didn't get a chance to read it. Just had to look up a bunch of people talking about it, but I couldn't derive any major differences, like from the novel or the movie, but I have to assume there was probably a good amount.
Yeah. Well, that's it's fascinating because I didn't know there was a novel.
Yeah,
That was that.
so that's why
close
one of the
related.
reasons why I'm like, I don't really want to say much bad about this because like it was like a heck of a thing that this dude went and made, and like,
Well, it's okay for you to objectively dislike scenes in the film that you feel like weren't done well or don't make sense or just are there for no reason.
Yeah, let me clarify. I don't think, like, this is just a personal opinion. I mean, in all honesty, this probably is, like, one of the saddest movies ever made, and it's an animation classic and should be remembered for all time and stuff. I personally just did not like it. And it frustrated me. But that's just me personally.
Well, there's... Yeah, I feel like Saul can back me up on this, but there's many films that deliver this experience of just trying to get the point across to the viewer that war is bad. War equals everything bad. Don't do it, please. And it can be Grave of the Fireflies, or it can be a different movie. Saving Private Ryan for out the window example, which that one's honestly there's better movies, but it could be delivered through something else, another lens. Like Saul, what would you say on that?
Yeah, I mean, there are, a number, like I mentioned, Come and See earlier. Japanese cinema in the 50s and 60s has some movies that are kind of on similar themes that are just nigh unwatchable. And I think...
But here's my...
I think they're...
Sorry to interrupt my question. Are those actually about... Because I gotta come to the defense of this movie at least somewhat, or... Oof, the internet's gonna have at me. Are those movies actually about, like, just, like, the horrors of war, or, like, the, like, ramifications? Because this movie is not, like, here's war, war is bad. It's, here's like no war. You see the firebombing, that's it. And then it's just like how it's affecting some civilians outside of that.
The slow collapse of
They're,
society.
like,
Everyone's not
so
trading.
far
Yeah.
removed. They're in a grassy area. It's peaceful. Everything's beautiful around them, and they're still suffering
They're
from
still-
war.
Yeah, it can be like seen as the ripple effect of war instead of the direct impact, like come and see.
Yeah. So not to cut, sorry to like cut you off for that, but I'm just like curious, like, yeah, are those comparison films like about like on the front line battlefield, or are they also like off to the sidelines? Like, here's from the civilian eyes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing is that the director Takahata didn't think of this as an anti-war film. And almost, the universal kind of reception is that this is an anti-war film. And I think that is kind of like an interesting distinction to make, that the war movie and the war adjacent movie. There's a Soviet movie, Cranes. I don't know how well you two know your Soviet cinema.
I would say
Not familiar.
at all. But you took the class for us.
The Cranes Are Flying. There we go. It's called the Cranes Are Flying. It's
The cranes are
related
flying,
movie.
or the cranes up flying?
The Cranes Are Flying. It's a 1957 kind of Second World War movie, about kind of this woman and her boyfriend, and anyway, he goes away to war, and she's kind of stuck on the sidelines, and she has kind of guilt about, about being stuck behind, and about this affair that she has, and kind of the misery adjacent to war.
Yeah.
And I think there's an interesting, especially when you mix that with a children's movie.
Wait, are we calling Grave of the Fireflies a children's film?
Well, it was shown with Totoro.
Fucking, it's literally PG-13.
Well, now it is, but when it came out in the 80s?
They had PG-13 then.
It's an interesting question, because I'd meant it as like a film about children, not a film for children. But
Got it. I hear children's film and I'm like, trolls?
Our minds have been warped.
no, I would not be surprised if children were shown this, if they were traumatized by it,
Oh, God.
obviously. However,
Yeah.
what we consider capable of these days is very different from, what history, or most of the world for that matter, considers children capable of.
Mhm.
But there's this interesting kind of intersection between all of those, right? It's kind of like a Bildungsroman that's cut off, right? It's about not the growing up into something. It's the kind of the dead version of that, right? It's the kind of maimed version, in which children.
The version that's like forced to evolve to keep living, or else it will cease to exist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no child. The childhood gets cut off immediately, and then there's so much kind of adulthood that it literally kills him.
By 10-minute mark, mother has been excused, let's just say, and he holds on to hope until spoilers for anyone who hasn't. Go fucking watch Grave of the Fireflies if you're listening to this.
The whole point of this is to like watch the film first, and then this is just like a book club discussion.
If you're remotely interested in Ghibli and you want to listen to this podcast, like just go watch the movie. Support my boy. Anyways, he holds on to a lot of his hope because he's like, well, my dad's still out there. He's still making them pay for all this shit that's happening to me and my sisters, so I don't really have to feel all that bad about this. And then that scene at the bank when that rug is pulled out from under him, it's almost like he loses 50% of his will to live, the other 50 being in his sister. So it's just...
I wanted to point out that line, actually. So, Setsuko says, after the house is burned down, like, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And Saita says, father will make them pay. right? His answer
Yes.
to how are we going to live is not we're going to live, it's we're going to get revenge.
Yeah, don't worry. These bastards will pay. And it's like there's almost this theme of pride no matter what's done to them. They're like, "Hey, I can suffer, but as long as we win the war and the pride of our nation is fulfilled, it'll be fine."
Well,
And it's
And
like,
that's
wow.
where I saw the movie from. I know a lot of people are saying it's a movie about sadness, it's a movie about the war. I'm like, I feel like this is a movie
No,
about
it's-
pride.
It's almost propaganda to an extent, but like for let's not do this. Let's figure out it. Let's talk it out, guys.
And that's the interesting thing too, is the difference between the responses of the adults and the children to these things.
Oh my god, yeah.
Between, you know, particularly in like how the adults are talking about the war, which tends to be very kind of cynical, very they don't really like care what happens and who wins.
No, they're more inconvenienced by it than anything. They're like, oh fuck, I gotta go to a shelter again. Ugh, it's like they're just more annoyed by how long it's going on and not by what's how many lives are being lost or what the conflict's
Exactly.
even about.
And they are the responsible party for this.
Yes, they are. And then
yeah,
they
with
just
love.
go around being like, all these fucking kids we gotta feed. And it's like, well, you guys are the ones who put them in this position of hunger and no home. So
These freaking
can't just
starving
abandon them.
children.
What a bunch of idiots.
Oh man. Oh. This movie is something. This movie is something.
Okay, I want to throw something out in regards to this. So something that emerged to me as I was watching it today. So there's a French literary theorist by the name of René Girard, and he had this. He comes up with the concept of the scapegoat. So he's reading Oedipus Rex, and this idea comes up to him. Of what happens. So Oedipus Rex, the ancient Greek play by Sophocles. If I've misremembered that, I'm going to kick myself. But and it's about the king Oedipus Rex, and there's a plague in Thebes. And what has to happen then for the plague to be cured is for Oedipus to be exiled, and he cuts out his eyes, right? He gets exiled because of these sins that have happened in the past. And he was like, oh, this is actually just a universal pattern of human behavior. That what we do is when we have a problem and we don't know what to do, we find someone in particular or some group and we say this is their fault. They're the ones kind of... It's really like we should kind of cast all of our collective guilt and shame onto them.
Out with them,
And
with the problem.
Exactly. And if you think about, right, in that kind of introductory scene, how the adults are talking about the children who are starving, right, we have to get cleaned up before the Americans get here. Right, we can't kind of show them. So even though they're kind of at large, responsible for this, their pride is still... Oh my god, he's gone again.
Oh, actually, dude, disconnect. More technical difficulties.
He just... More technical... Guys, we're doing this live. Fuck it, we're doing it live.
I mean, I guess you can still make your point, because we have our recordings here.
We have our recordings here. Right, and so the children get talked about as kind of this, like, plague. Really, it's the children's fault. They're going to be making us looking bad. They're just, they're just lying there, like, dying. It's unhygienic. It's distasteful. They're getting in my way. And I think this is really kind of a scapegoat in the way that the adults avoid responsibility for the things that they see in front of them. This is the only way they can tolerate, what they've done, what they've seen, is really to take this guilt and plunge it onto those who cannot defend themselves.
So, like, sort of like we're watching the death of a childhood as the, like, creation of a scapegoat in a way.
Exactly. And that death of that childhood is, in a lot of ways, to think large scale, right? The death of childhood is kind of symbolic for, or the death of this one child is symbolic for, like the possibilities that were lost that come with war, and particularly in a war, declared by Japan. Um, Perhaps something different may have happened. Obviously, historical speculation is a little silly, but but it's hard to, in spite of the travesty that was the Tokyo fire bombings and Hiroshima and Nagasaki, to ignore the fact that that they started this war themselves, and they kind of, and who dealt with the consequences.
Well, as a slight disclaimer there, I guess I don't want to keep framing it as they started it and they kept going. I mean, I'm no historian, but I'm sure they have a different point of view of it. As as a American who grew up in the 2000s, I don't know if I could quietly understand all of Japan's feelings during World War II. But yeah. Oh, hello. Are you back?
Yes.
Oh, Sky has rejoined us, listeners.
It hasn't just yet. I'm a 1, 2, 3. All right, that doesn't mean anything, but we'll figure it.
You have to. I didn't clap.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Well, you can't say 1, 2, 3. You can't say one on 3. 1, 2, 3. Having before said we clap after 3.
No, wait. We clap on.
Okay.
3, right?
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Cool. I've lost all of my audio.
Nah, don't worry. We were having discussions without you. It's fine.
I'm now plugged into a UPS. Continue.
UPS?
Don't let me interrupt.
UPS?
I have a UPS truck outside, and the man is huffing it.
Is he manually delivering your audio waves?
Yes, he is. He's not
manually delivering
bikes.
Electricity, yeah.
Yes, he is. Don't let me stop this discussion.
Wait, I could get it back on track. Watch this, okay? Is he manually pushing a cart through burned out Indiana to deliver you the goods?
Yes.
That's almost a segue. That's like the idea of a segue.
It's a version.
Yeah. I totally forgot what we were talking about now, by the way.
We were
you
talking
about who was at fault?
childhood. I was talking about Renee Girard. You missed the
Yes.
entire explanation, though.
From childhood to
You're good.
scapegoat.
Yeah,
I'll work in the edit.
yeah, so we can talk about kind of, I guess, a point that we can leap back into without jumping too much. So we were talking about childhood. Harley, what were you concluding about childhood?
I do not remember, but
Okay.
hey, here's something we can hop into now that we're all here. Is it worth comparing this to Totoro? Because the whole point I said we should watch Grave of the Fireflies next is because they came out at the same time, and I thought there would be comparisons between the two. Is it worth comparing this to Totoro in any aspect? Because I honestly can't think of any.
I think so. But you go ahead, Sky.
I don't, because I feel like they serve two different purposes. Totoro is all about childhood and overcoming fears, and Grave of the Fire.
Oh. Hello?
Not
Oh, I think
again.
we lost him again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, we did actually. His power went out. Yeah, his power actually went out again.
Next time we won't do this in the middle of a storm.
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm giving my answer for why I think it does.
Yeah,
compare.
I was gonna say. Besides the fact that I'm in beautiful Clear Sky, California, and I don't have to worry about that. I was gonna say, the only similarity I see is that they both kind of are vaguely about childhood. That's it. So what's your answer? Because I couldn't think of a valid reason to really compare the two.
Gotcha. Give me. So. Okay, so here's my justification for why there is kind of some fundamental similarity. So obviously we have two children in both, and an older and younger sibling, particularly in the light of one protecting the other. These are both in some ways fantasies. Um, Obviously, literally in Totoro, but there's a very metaphorical way in which Grave of the Fireflies, particularly when they're living on their own and they kind of create their own world, in a sense, right? They're not obviously no talking animals, but there is
I'm
um
thinking of the scene when they're like in the cave with the fireflies, and then he starts comparing the
hmm,
lights to like boats and things.
yeah, I mean that's a kind of a very literal instantiation of it,
Yeah,
right? There's this kind of world that he's creating and sharing with his sister.
a very idealized one,
Exactly. And
literally
you have
bright
kind
and
of this.
shiny.
Yep, yep, and and they kind of mold the world around them, right? Because obviously the caves were there beforehand, but they have, they make the swing, they make kind of the cooking setup. Um, they catch things and boil them, right? They have this, and they can't live in this world, right? They have it for a little bit, but it fades away. Um, and in Totoro, right, it's the fantasy world that saves them, and in Grave of the Fireflies, it's the fantasy world that dooms them. So I
I
think,
see that. I see that.
yeah, I think it's a weird. They're similar in their differences, if you will.
Yeah, it's not as clean of a comparison as I thought it would be. I thought it would be a
That's fair.
fairly easy, just like, yeah, there's this one and then this one. What? Oh, they both have similarities, different answers. No, they're very different movies. Each one of them.
Oh,
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
This would be an interesting episode, but you know what? I wouldn't want anything less from Grave of the Fireflies.
seriously, fuck it. Whatever. I can sound like whatever. The universe doesn't want me to say what I gotta say.
Yeah, you keep getting kicked out. You want to count 1, 2, 3, and then we clap again?
I don't care. I'll just line it up with the Discord thing that you
Okay, well, I'm
record.
gonna clap anyways.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, there we go.
My power just went out again. I'm gonna pretend like that's not
No.
happening the entire
You
time.
got cellular. That's what counts.
You'll probably hear my UPS guy in the back beeping.
Wait, I could segue us back to the conversation.
Oh, hey, my sister's here.
Dude, this sucks.
Doesn't it suck?
This sucks.
I just want to do life,
What is
right?
she doing? Tell her
Play
you're recording.
Fortnite.
Okay, we're
Tell her
recording.
you're
Leave
recording
before
a
you
high
get
class audio
High
movie
quality.
club.
podcast. All right, she left. Good. All right. What were you guys saying?
I don't remember.
It doesn't
We
matter.
were talking about the comparisons.
Yeah, that's right. I brought up, like, is there any, like, I couldn't think of good comparisons between this and Totoro. I thought there would be, like, a ton of stuff that you could draw parallels between, but there's not many.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have disagreed for reasons that I've already said, and which will be.
Hey, I'll find those out in the
Yeah,
edit.
but, like, they're not, like, it's not, like, easy. It's not, it's, like, it's not as clear, It's not, like, a massive one-to-one comparison, like, wow, these two very similar movies. There's not a lot between them.
Totally.
Both very different.
It's like I guess a thing that makes it interesting that it came out around the time that Totoro came out is that two different takes on childhood. It's a childhood that actually had time to grow and breathe, and then a childhood that was basically destroyed and not given a chance to exist.
Yeah, that's literally what we were just talking about. That was
Well,
the only comparison
yeah, I'm
we
in
could
on
come up with.
I'm in on it.
Here's a question though. Going off of what we did for the last one, you guys have a golden nugget moment?
Oh,
You have,
what would a golden nugget moment apply as? Like our
Yeah,
favorite
whatever you
scene,
think, like
or
the best, like that golden nugget. I don't remember where our golden nugget scenes from Totoro were, but was there like a golden nugget scene? Because I do actually have one.
Okay.
I don't really like this movie a lot, but I do have a golden nugget scene for when the first firebombing happens.
A lovely part.
Very lovely.
I actually think that is a very, like, it's good. It's solid. It's good. The specifically them like trying to grab stuff from the house and they're all trying to run out of it and stuff. Just sort of like the panic of that, and the fire is animated super well.
Oh my god,
give
yeah.
it to like the very first firebombing. It would be my golden nugget, and maybe not much else, but that's just me.
Yeah. Not to compare my life to this remotely, but there was this time where my house almost burnt down. So it was very reminiscent of just like, hey, grab shit. Okay, we don't have time. Grab what's important. And it's just like, they nailed that feeling in like 2 seconds. And it's just, it stayed with you throughout the film.
My house actually almost burnt down too once, but we didn't try to grab stuff and ran. We actually sat outside with all the neighbors and filmed the fire, so.
Hell yeah.
Hey, my house almost burned down once. It's almost like we grew up in California.
Yeah,
Oh, the
it's
fire
weird,
state.
huh?
Golden on fire state. Shut the fuck up, battery. You're not even helping. I'm gonna turn this shit
You
off.
are plugged into a UPS.
I was. My computer's like on, but I don't even care. It's not recording GarageBand anymore.
Oh,
I love this energy you bring. I don't even care anymore. Listen to our podcast.
Seriously.
you think you have it bad with no internet connection? How do you think main character and main character's little sister felt? I don't remember their names. When their house got fired or bombed.
Well, I had the wiki in front of me, but I tell you.
Saita Setsuko, there you
I'm
go.
glad one of us cares
There we go.
enough to keep this going.
All right.
I want to keep it going. I wanted this to happen.
Hey, you
the
know
universe
what?
doesn't want it to happen.
It's because it's great for the Fireflies.
It's, you know what? It fits perfectly. This was going to be a bummer episode, so this had to happen.
Solomon, please,
All right,
gold
so,
nugget.
yeah.
Golden nugget.
So I think that the final scene is the most powerful thing in the film, particularly because we get no narration over it, right? And there's that kind of chiastic structure where we have this opening, although I suppose it's after it's the train ride, so it's technically a little bit after the opening. But right, we have this kind of ethereal world that's kind of haunted by these two, in which they return to what they were. And they're going on this on the train, and kind of the orangey, past filter cinematography, and then the ending scene, which is also no voiceover, no narration, there's no like moral that's being shared directly.
It's just a thing that happens.
Well, okay, so here's, and there's a lot of ways to interpret kind of what it means to have these two kind of literally looking over Tokyo, and over kind of this modern world. Because on one hand, there's that kind of haunting that goes on, right? That what this is built on so many graves. But there's also this kind of exigence that it gives the film, right? This is important because, yeah, we're actually here. This was us, and we live fundamentally connected to the past. And that's what I think the strongest part of particularly historical films is that reminder that, so as we were, you too shall be. So that was my gold nugget.
Yeah. Sky?
I'd honestly say the golden nugget for me is how just the perseverance that the two characters have to take, mainly the brother, but even the sister, she makes the small sacrifices here and there that are just like something that no kid would really have to think about, but that they just had to take as fact. And I feel like the film really portrayed that in a realistic way, and the way it played out, and just like if they were really just forced out on their own, pretty much, like they just had no parental figure since the beginning of all this. So it's like it's impressive how the film kind of kept that. And like, not like I'm any like well versed in how humans can push themselves to persevere in dark situations, but it just it is impressive to see on film when it's done that way.
Fair enough. I mean, in some ways, the little sister's a bit more, I guess, steadfast or solid standing than the brother, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the interesting thing too, is that something I noticed the second time around was the use of emotion and who's allowed to show it and who does show it. Because and I think it's more than just kind of like the older brother wanting to appear kind of strong. If you look at like the reactions of the adults after the fires have burned everything down, I mean, you have people kind of cynically joking about it. It would suck to have my house as the only house that didn't burn down. They don't have any affect in their delivery, right? These are not kind of shocked, devastated people. These are either making light of it in gallows humor or just kind of commenting as though it were kind of the way that things are. And Saita does his best to imitate them. And occasionally he fails when there really is truly no other option. But Setsuko seems to be the only one with kind of with the ability to react to things as they are, rather than kind of as they should be, in the sense of like, oh yes, we are supporting our military, everything is okay, we're gonna win, so doesn't matter.
Thinking about it,
No.
she holds on to her childhood right up to the last moment, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's holding her childhood for two people.
Yeah. Huh. I didn't even think about it like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Like even in that sequence where it's just showing what she did with all of her free time while she was by herself at their house, it's just like no matter what was going on, she was still living to an extent. And it's like there's the beauty in that.
Yeah. Makes her feel more, I guess, since she's a child living her childhood, it makes her feel more like, I guess, I don't want to say stronger. I'm like reaching for a word I can't think of right now, but she has.
Well, there's
more.
like a
She's more true than her
resilient.
brother. Yeah, kind of. She's in a better position than her brother is, I'll say.
that, but there's also the edge that being so young and being so ignorant gives her by not fully understanding what's really happening at all times. Like she of course develops throughout the film and is like able to, fully realize their situation. But like at the beginning, how her brother feels the need to not tell her certain things or sugarcoat stuff, and it's just like gives her an out for a little bit, but she ultimately is the most resilient throughout and keeps him as a rock when he, like, literally at that one part where he gets arrested and he like bursts into tears. He's his rock in that moment, and it's like, oh, even when he loses hope, he's able to bring him back.
I suppose also, because we did this for the Totoro one, was there a bad nugget moment? Would there be something about this movie that you would change? Because I have a few.
I'll let you guys go first.
I mean, I'll say that I'm not primarily an artist, so I offer no "this should have been done instead" moment.
I, for my own personal preference, I would prefer it if he at least tried to like maybe find work and failed, or maybe perhaps tried to take money from the bank and failed. I wish he tried more than just immediately going to I'm gonna steal. So if I could change something about the film, it would probably be that. I'd probably make him try maybe a bit more before immediately going to stealing crops.
Mhm. When does he, for timeline reasons, when does he steal crops? Is it before or after he is kicked out of his aunt's house? Or after they leave his aunt's house?
It's
After
after that and after they get all the money out.
And then they realize that there is no such thing as currency. It's just barter, right?
I think they run out of money.
I could have swore it was,
They don't.
he went to the farm and he was like, "Can I buy some stuff?" And the guy was like, "No, you need to trade stuff. That's what it is now."
They don't run out of money
I-
until like his little sister's basically dead.
No, because he says specifically, the old guy says, like, I can't support you.
Which, did you guys watch the sub or the dub?
I
watched the
subs.
sub.
I watched the dub, and in the dub, the farmer was like, "Well, everything is trade now. That knows that money you have there holds no intrinsic value anymore."
Oh, how strange.
Yeah.
That is odd.
So like, they went to the bank and they got money out because he was like, "Hey, Mom has such and such amount of money. We'll live for a little bit," and then they're happy. And then it cut to the next scene where they're like, "Oh, we can't use any of that money." I could have misunderstood, but I that's what the dub told me.
Keep in mind, I have not seen this film since like 2 years ago because I really, really just did not want to watch it again. But I feel like that's different from the sub. I'm pretty sure the
Definitely
sub, they
different.
just get the money and they're able to buy stuff. And whenever he was stealing and stuff, it was just straight up like, oh, I just need this because I don't want to spend the money. And then his sister's dying and he's like, oh, I guess I gotta spend the money. And he goes to spend the money and it's like, oh, too late, bro. You waited way too long. And that's the key thing that made me frustrated at this film. So maybe if I watched the dub, I wouldn't have been so frustrated at this film?
Maybe.
That's odd. I might actually one day go back and watch the dub and see if it's different. And I'll tell you what, if I do, I will come here and I'll re-clarify my views on this movie.
Yeah, we'll come back episode 3.
Or more like maybe 50. I'm well good not watching this.
How many Ghibli movies do you think there are?
Oh, by the time we get to, well, we're currently at a basis of one Ghibli movie every 3 years, so
Miyazaki's gonna come out of retirement for the 27th time to direct the 83rd movie.
The
There
retirement
you
just
go.
means there'll be a new movie in 2 years.
Hey, I mean, with his retirement structure, he could live in France.
True.
Oh,
Alright,
come
did I-
on. All right, go ahead.
Oh yeah, wait.
Did I end up doing a
No,
negative?
you
or-
didn't. What was your bad nugget? What was something you would change about the film?
I don't feel like there's anything I changed. I just ultimately was disappointed in this. Could be just cultural differences that I don't fully understand, but I feel like them getting shit on by literally every single adult at every corner is just unrealistic. Like, there would be one person who would take pity on them or whatever, or be like, "Hey, I just lost my kid, so I'm gonna take care of these
Wait,
kids,"
there-
or just some shit like
There
that.
was one person though, right? The lady that gave him like some food at the train station when he was already dead. That counts, right?
Okay.
That counts, right? That's one person.
Sure. But I just feel like everyone was really cruel to these kids, and it's like, I know it's war times, I know it's whatever, but I feel like there's a default for humanity to be like, well, I'm gonna hold on to that one thing I believe in, and that one thing I believe in is that I'm going to take care of innocents, and kids are usually innocents. So it just felt like none of the adults in the story, stood up to that. And that could just be me not fully understanding the situation and how dire everything is, or what the years leading up to that were.
I might still take a look at the novel because I feel like the novel might have scenes like that in it or something. Something like that.
Something like that. But I just feel like there would be at least a person
Yeah.
who would give them a something. But I don't know.
Well, we're approaching on the 1 hour mark, I think. Given the technical
All right.
difficulties, I think we're approaching a 1 hour mark. If there's any final thoughts,
If you have a recording of it that says almost an hour, then that's perfect.
I think I do.
56
good.
minutes and 10 seconds.
Well, I say
Which is
we
actually-
end off with
This
this.
is actually officially longer than the movie because the movie's like 80.
89 minutes.
No, wait. So that's actually no. We're still not longer than the movie.
Hour
Really?
28.
How high are you?
I just drank 2 beers, so I mean
I'm pretty drunk.
2 corn juices. I don't know if this is going on YouTube. They don't like it when you talk about.
Well,
what
I'm
you
on
drink.
tequila, and my entire house has no power, so this will be
Oh,
fun.
so you have a fun night
It's
ahead
a
of you.
good combination.
I do.
Oh.
Anyways, I feel like we should end off with this. We did a what did you like? What did you dislike? Now, a thing that I feel like we should do every episode is, would you recommend this film to anybody
fair.
you know?
Fair enough. No.
All right, Saul.
You gotta watch it at least
Okay,
once. You
Let me
got
clarify.
I agree
Let
with
me
Saul.
clarify.
I agree with Saul.
Yeah. That's how I would recommend it. Is you should probably watch it one day, but oof, good luck. It's hard to recommend. I don't think I could go to a person on the street and just be like, "Yo, bro, watch Grave of the Fireflies."
Okay, your situation for recommending films is really fucking weird. You need to just recommend films to your friends, not go up to a stranger on the street.
Well, that's the thing. If I was recommending to a friend, a person that I knew, then I could, but it would be very situational, and I would have a large disclaimer.
Let's narrow it down then. Would you recommend this to a Ghibli fan?
Yes, with a large disclaimer.
Large disclaimer. All right. I feel like I would do the same, but just be like, hey, this is gonna talk about some serious subject matter, so be ready for that.
just to a 32-year-old, like, this has serious content in it,
All right, so let's watch
Um,
Totoro and then let's watch
Yeah,
Grave.
back to back. Or no,
Basically.
watch it
Double
theater style.
feature.
Watch Grave of the Fireflies, then Totoro, and then just panic.
Oh, that's a good
Just
combo.
panic during the flip flop scene. When she
That's a
loses the
combo right
signal or
there.
whatever, just panic.
All right.
Solomon, would you
okay.
recommend it?
Yeah, first of all, you already asked me, but second of all, I would recommend it, yes.
Okay. I don't know. I'm like getting tired of myself here. I assume you guys are like
Yeah.
starting to get really tired because it's like 9:30 here. So
It's 11:30 here for me, probably 12:30 for Saul. My power's still out. I'm gonna see how. I'm gonna probably have to pack away all my food in some fridges or something.
I'll just throw it outside in the snow.
That's a good idea. Or I'll bury it in the dirt, like they did at the
There
beginning
you
of the
go.
movie.
That's a segue. Oh, actually, so our list, because we're keeping a list of like what our rankings are.
Mhm.
I put Grave of the Fireflies under My Neighbor Totoro, obviously. So,
Well, yeah, it's two films. Yeah.
but then you, Sky, you put it above Neighbor Totoro.
Yes, I did. I feel like Neighbor serves a really good kid audience. I feel like Grave is ultimately more important and will last because of that, because it takes a more sober, serious look at the world than Totoro does. But that's not to say that Totoro doesn't have any value, because it's a very good kids film and should be watched by a lot of people.
What about you, Solomon? Where would you rank Grave of the Fireflies compared to My Neighbor Totoro? Above or below?
Oh, gosh.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, because that's the problem. Is like aesthetically, I'm obliged to say Totoro is better because I'm not I hate realism. But I actually don't care for Totoro very much either. So I'm gonna just put them below. Just
Oof. Just two movies you don't like. They're in the corner.
yeah.
We'll
they're
get a
not
more
bad.
accurate
They're
opinion when we get a few more films under the belt. Then.
No, once we're like 5 to 10 movies deep, we'll have a pretty good layup, like where our opinions lie. Now, for the important shit,
Yeah.
I was thinking we should watch Ponyo for the next episode since it's so happy and so opposite of Grave of the Fireflies. But you guys are suggesting differently. I'm completely open
Well,
to
here's
whatever.
my suggestion. I'm like literally dying right now. I drank 2 beers. I'll be right back. Feel free to debate and pick the next film. I know this is high
Saul.
quality podcasting here.
Two beers.
I will be back.
Truly.
Oh, they're like big
I'll cut
beers. They're
this
like
shit
tall
out.
cans. But either way,
Right, I'm gonna wait
I
for-
tried to make it.
Right,
I failed.
Go to the bathroom.
I failed.
Go to
This
the
is
bathroom.
messy. I'm gonna just. You guys pick the next film. I'll be right back. Don't worry about it.
Will do. All right, guy, cut right here. Saul, what would you pick for the next movie?
I think Ponyo is fine. Maybe I'll rewatch it and love it. I just remember loathing the song, so maybe the song has
song.
just completely.
I don't remember anything about the song.
Oh.
Is that gonna drive you nuts?
Oh.
Okay,
It's one of those
okay.
stupid, like, 3-year-old. It's like Shark. What's the shark?
Baby Shark.
Baby Shark. There we go. It's like
that's
Baby
good.
Shark. In
Okay.
that I hate it. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
well then, what would you suggest for our
Ponyo.
third movie?
Screw it, Ponyo. Why not?
Okay, so that's 2 votes for Ponyo. Harley, what do you personally want to watch for the third episode?
Well, my opinion doesn't matter because it's 2 votes for Ponyo, right?
You have a poll here. We could bring in we could call in somebody or whatever.
Okay. I'm looking.
And it
at
could
the
sway
list.
me. If it's a really good movie,
I
it could
feel
sway
like
me.
you know what? Sure, Ponyo. Let's do it. Just Ponyo.
Okay,
'Cause I
Ponyo
don't
to
wanna
bring
get
the.
something that I haven't watched that could be bad. I could use a Ponyo now, right?
Yeah.
Let's go for a Ponyo.
A bit depresso espresso. I'd like to call.
So we'll watch
alright.
Ponyo. Will be the next film.
Yeah, for all the Ponyo fans out there, stay tuned, and for all the Ghibli fans out there, please stay tuned, because we're gonna be doing this for a little bit. Hopefully, all the
So
films.
Is it time for the social media plug?
Yes, Solomon, what have you got going on?
I've got papers I'm writing that no one's ever going to read because
Well, not with an attitude
that's what
like
graduate.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the
true.
vibe.
Post them to Twitter.
There you go. Twitter is not totally just a succubus of creativity.
I'll present one of them one day. Sky, what do you got going?
The YouTube channel, which will either host these videos or whatever, Skyatalk, Skiatok, and it's that. Harley, what have you got
guys
going
are
on?
like amateurs at this. Hi, I'm Harley. You can find me at my main channel, which is Final Ever Fantasy, where I will be playing every Final Fantasy game in order. Don't look at how long it's taking me to do that, but I'm making progress, I swear. As well, you could...
Which game you on? Is it still 2?
2 is not that bad, actually. And if you want more of my
Okay.
opinions on that, you should go and check that out on Final Ever Fantasy and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. As well, I have that's honestly really about it. I mean, I guess you could go to my Twitter. I'll try to start posting more on my Twitter in the future.
Yeah.
So you can find me at the Harley Wolf on Twitter. And
Okay, well then, if we are all social media'd up,
yeah,
join us next week for Ponyo, and make sure to watch it or just just support your local Studio
Yeah,
Ghibli.
go
while you're at it.
support your local Studio Ghibli and watch Ponyo
Mhm.
and join us for the next episode.
Yep. All right. Well,
Until then, farewell.
bye.
Bye.
No, you gotta say it, Harley.
Wait, what did you gotta say?
You gotta say
I
bye.
said, no, I
He
said
did.
farewell.
He just didn't look at the fucking mic while he
No,
said it.
Goodbye, everybody.
There we go.
And that's where we'll end it. All right, Harley, go ahead and save that before I have an aneurysm.